Hello, good day, everyone. To be on your space once more, very excited. I can see that we are learning a lot from the previous training that I've put forward, and today we will be looking into a very important section of Project Libra, which has to do with tax usage versus resource usage. That is how I have titled it. This is just to capture your interest on this section, please. Previously, we did look into, let me quickly click on that. We looked into setting of baselines. So we looked into creating a baseline for your project. Let me quickly click on that. So you can see on that green section that is your baseline. So your baseline gives you a breakdown of your budget for your project. Now, if I click here, before this baseline was set for this project, there was no budget cost. You can see here previously that there was cost on here, but on the budget section there was no value. So by the time we save the baseline for the project, we're able to generate the budget for the project. So on today's class, we will be looking into usage, tax usage versus resource usage. Just so you can understand what this terminology is, I've created a note, comprehensive note. If you have need for it, you can send me a private message and I will do well to forward those information to yourself. So on here you can see we've got resource, and on this section we've got tax. On the tax section we've got tax usage, and on the resource section we've got resource usage. So these terms are very important, just so we can be in same page. I just want to highlight what a tax is. So a tax is a specific activity or piece of work that needs to be completed within the project, and resource are personnel that are involved in the execution of that task. So it could be resource, it could be equipment that is used for the execution of that task, or the material that is needed, or other assets that are used to complete the task in the project. So understanding this term is key for us to understand where we are going to on this class today. So on tax, we are looking into the duration of that tax. We are looking at the start and finish date. We are looking at dependencies. We are looking at how the resources are assigned within the tax. Why for the resource, we are looking at the availability of that resource in the course of execution, the cost of the resource, that is cost rate, and the skills that are available to execute the set task. So we will be talking about mapping system. It's just trying to relate it to mathematics. So we are going to be looking into that. Let me just quickly pop up that slide that I have created just to explain the mapping system. Bear with me while I put up that. Let me quickly click on that slide, please. So on here, I am using a mathematical system mapping for set if you have a little knowledge on that aspect. So you can see the simple diagram that I have created on here. So on that diagram, I used tax. So the key for tax is T, and resource, the key for resource is R. So if you look on here, you can see that I've got the T1 is to R1 and R3. That means that we will need R1 and R3 as a resource to accomplish this set task T1, and we will need R1 and R2 to accomplish the set task T2, and we will need R3 to accomplish the set task T3, and we will need R4 to accomplish the set task T4. So just to really alight on this, we have to understand that um, these two data are related in a symbiotic way. So let me quickly click on the slide so you can really appreciate it, please. So if you look here, you can see the tax usage, and for the tax usage you've got this indented. So you need all these resources to accomplish this set tax. That is what I am trying to point out from this very slide. So but you can also see from there, from the resource section, that we've got R1 is to T1 and T2. R1 is to T1 and T2, and R2 is to T2. R2 is to T2, and R3 is to T1 and T3, and R4 is to T4. So that is the simple mapping system that is used in this same complex, supposed complex system of resource usage and tax usage. So let's go to the other slide. Thank you. So if you come to the tax, we are talking about the tax section, which is, let's say, T1. So you can see here this tax visibility study is a tax, government approval is a tax. So these are just tax, and underneath, indented a little bit to the right, are the resources that are needed. I will highlight those resources here. So for the visibility study, we will have need for this personnel to successfully execute the visibility study. It's same as what we've got here. So we will need R1, R3, R1, R3 to successfully execute T1. If we come to the other section, which is going from resource to the tax, so we are going from the resource to the tax now. So going from the resource to the tax, we'll have for R1 we have T1 and T2. So let me just quickly pop that so you can see. So we have this resource here. This is the project manager, and the project manager is required to accomplish, to be involved in these tasks that are indebted to the right. So these tasks, he will be involved in them. Okay, so if we can understand this, we will be able to appreciate what tax is, tax usage is, as well as resource and resource usage. So in simple terms, we can say, how will you consider something to be a tax? You use who is working on what. So that is the key question to ask when you are working on tax. So in the area of resource usage, you'll be asking a simple question of what each person is working on for the section of resource. And in the case of tags, you'll be identifying resource conflicts on specific tasks. So when we talk about resource conflicts, we are talking about this section where we have personnel executing, maybe for example we have this personnel, the labor is supposed to work in this section as well, for example. So and this section are running simultaneously, so we will be having resource conflict. So in order not to overuse the resource, we will have to redistribute, we'll have to identify those conflicts and try to manage them. Why for the overuse of resources, that is for resource management, we have over allocation of resource, so we need to identify those resources that are over allocated, do balance leveling and resource assignment to check against such issues. So that is for this section. So we need to understand this aspect for us to be able to properly schedule, track the progress, and manage the dependency in terms of the tasks, and do proper allocation, leveling, and utilization. So as well as we could manage the skill effectively in terms of the resources. So these are some of the things that we will be looking into for tax usage and tax, that's tax usage and resource usage. So one other section that we consider in terms of managing of this resource, can see by clicking on here quickly. Show the other section. Okay, so the lower section on here, you can see there's resources. So you see resource summary, and you can see the project officer. These are the resource summary, the goods and all that. When you click here, you can see these resources, and you can see the graph on here. So that is the reason why you need to understand that aspect, so we can be able to do our allocation, proper allocation, leveling, and utilization of these resources. So I have overshoot the time that I plan to explain resource usage as against tax usage. So in summary, resource your resource usage has to do with resource that are utilized across all tasks, while tax usage has to do with resource assigned to tax. So if we can understand that part, we'll be able to effectively manage our resource. Thank you very much for your time. On our subsequent class, we will dive deep into some other sections. So if you've got um, questions regarding further explanation in what I have explained today, please do well to send me a message and I will find time to respond to your message. And if you also have need for the documents that I promised, please send me a message and I will send that to you as well. Thank you very much for your time. Do not forget to hit a like if this training has been helpful in one way or the other. It's to encourage us to do more. Thank you very much. You have a great day ahead. Thank you.